Good day everyone, and especially to you, Sir Randy Omega. So today, I will be presenting to you my project number 1 in TMGT 144 Ecotourism Management entitled Subject Knowledge Video on Ecotourism. Before anything else, my presentation covers 3 parts. So now, on the first part of my presentation, and as part of my video introduction, let us learn and explore more about its definition, its principles and guidelines, as well as its characteristics of ecotourism. So before embarking onto the next part of my video presentation, let us try to know the different definitions of ecotourism. So what is ecotourism? How does it work? Why does it matter? And how can we, as travelers or as visitors, put the core principles of ecotourism into practice? So again, there is no universal definition of what is ecotourism because various authors, societies, and organizations gave different definitions of ecotourism. So according to the International Ecotourism Society, ecotourism can be defined as responsible travel to natural areas that conserve the environment, sustains the well-being of the local people. And Ecotourism Society defines ecotourism as responsible travel to natural areas which conserves the environment and improves the well-being of local people. And according to the Ecotourism Association of Australia, ecotourism is defined as a nature-based tourism that involves education and interpretation of the natural environment and is managed to be ecologically sustainable. And another definition, according to Tickle, ecotourism is travel to enjoy the world's amazing diversity of natural life and human culture without causing damage to either. And according to Ceballos Lascorraine, ecotourism is the traveling to relatively undisturbed or uncontaminated natural areas with the specific objective of studying, admiring, and enjoying the scenery and its wild plants and animals, as well as any existing cultural manifestation, both past and present, found in these areas. Let us go over to the principles and guidelines of ecotourism. So, we all know that ecotourism really attracts people who wish to interact with the environment and in varying degrees develop their knowledge, awareness, and appreciation of it. So the Ecotourism Society gives the principles and guidelines of ecotourism. So these are the following. As prepare travelers to minimize their negative impact while visiting sensitive environments and cultures before departure. Another would be to prepare traveler for each encounter with local cultures and with native animals and plants. And to minimize visitor impacts on the environment by offering literature, briefing, leading by example, and taking corrective actions. To minimize traveler impact on cultures by offering literatures, briefings, and leading. To use adequate leadership and maintain small enough groups to ensure minimum group impact on destination, to avoid areas that are undermanaged and over-visited. Another principle and guidelines is to ensure managers, the staff, and the contract employees know and participate in all aspects of company policy to prevent impacts on the environment and local cultures. To give managers, staff, and contact employees access to programs that will upgrade their ability to communicate with and manage clients in sensitive natural and cultural settings. Also, be a contributor to the conservation of the region being visited. And to provide competitive local employment in all aspects of business operation, to offer site-sensitive accommodations that are not wasteful of local resources or destructive to the environment, which provide ample opportunity for learning about the environment and sensitive interchange with local communities. Focuses on personally experiencing natural areas in ways that lead to greater understanding and appreciation. So now, let's move on to the characteristics of ecotourism. So, ecotourism is travel to fragile, pristine, and usually protected areas that strives to be the low impact and often small scale. So, it helps us educate the traveler, provides fund for conservation, directly benefits the economic development and political empowerment of local communities, and fosters respect for different cultures and for human rights. So these are some important characteristics of ecotourism. First, we have involves travel to the natural destination. So these destinations are like often remote areas, whether inhabited or uninhabited, and are usually under some kind of environmental protection at the national, international, communal, or even private travel. So second would be minimize impact. So tourism, we all know it causes damage, right? So ecotourism strives to minimize the adverse effects of hotels, trails, and other infrastructure by using either recycled or plentifully available local building material, renewable sources of energy, recycling and safe disposal of waste and garbage, and environmentally and culturally sensitive architectural design. So third would be builds environmental awareness. So ecotourism also means education for both tourists and residents of nearby communities. So, before the tour begins, tour operators should supply travelers with reading material about the country, about the environment, and the local people, as well as the code of conduct for both the traveler and the industry itself. So ecotourism projects should also help educate members of the societies or the communities, the school children, and the broader public in the host community. Fourth would be provides direct financial benefits for conservation. So ecotourism helps raise funds for environmental protection, the research, the education through a variety of mechanisms, including the park entrance fees, the tour company, the hotel, the airline and airport taxes, and other voluntary contributions. So fifth would be provides financial benefits and empowerment for local people. So ecotourism somehow holds that national parks and other conservation areas will really survive only if there are happy people, around the perimeters. So the local community must be involved, of course, and receive income and other tangible benefits like water, roads, health clinics, and etc. from the conservation area and its tourist facilities. Sixth would be respect local culture. So ecotourism is not only greener but also less culturally intrusive and exploitative than conventional tourism. Whereas, like prostitution, black markets, and drug often are byproducts. Those are byproducts of mass tourism. So, ecotourism really strives to be culturally respectful and the human population of a host country. So, lastly, supports human rights and democratic movement. So the United Nations sponsored World Tourism Organization proclaims that tourism contributes to international understanding, peace, prosperity, and universal respect for an observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all. So moving on to the next part of my video presentation, which is the identification of potential site for ecotourism, which is the Kawasan Falls that can be located in Trinidad, Bohol.
Kawasan Falls is a breathtaking waterfalls that has a 20-meter high drop in the middle of deep green forest, giving a refreshing sight for those who hike, camp, or travel in the forest. It is located in Barangay San Isidro, Trinidad, Bohol. At the bottom of the falls is a small pool that leads to a creek emphasized by huge and wide boulders similar to pebbles that are found to be distributed along the area. At its side, the abundance of vegetation is easily noticeable. There are tall trees that have a deep green color with broad-shaped leaves. The overall look of the waterfall gives it a mysterious feel, which has actually added to one of the reasons why visitors and tourists find it very inviting. There are visitors who travel around the forest first before they take a dip in the falls. The falls is the perfect way to refresh yourself after all that walking. The flashing water can be a good alternative to getting yourself a full body massage. You get to see a spectacular falls and get a massage as well as for such a cheap price. Kawasan Falls is quite far from the city, making it the destination for people who feel the need and want to have the time away from the noisy, crowded, and busy city. In fact, Kawasan Falls is known for its nature lovers environment, native and exotic trees, and different kinds of birds that can only be found in these waterfalls. Most of the plants in the forest are threatened or endangered species. Some species in the forest have become extinct or critically endangered. Kawasan Falls is a potential site for ecotourism because there is a significant potential for a specific species of a common bird that can be found in the area. Also, the site is accessible to visitors, and there would be a reasonable expectation, especially on the amount of funding to develop ecotourism. The resources in the area, on the other hand, are of better quality and have unique features or characteristics than in competing destinations. Also, the site is quite ready for the marketplace because of such proposed services are doable in the site. And the visitors can easily find out where to participate, such as those compelling core activities and experiences the site could possibly offer. The information in the site is also available for visitors, such as the routes, maps, signages, and many more. The local communities in the area could be actively involved and willing to conform to ecotourism guidelines and principles. In addition, there is also a strong collaboration and participation amongst all the stakeholders who would be their partners, especially in formulating the ecotourism development in the area. This may include the local communities, the private sectors such as tour operators and travel agencies, tourism or service providers, local businessmen, and local authorities, either LGU or BLGU, for they will be greatly affected both directly or indirectly by ecotourism development with the strict compliance of industry regulations and standards. So each stakeholder has a role to play in the planning, development, and operationalization of the ecotourism destination.
So I am now on the end part of my video presentation, which is the discussion of why the site or why Kawasan Falls should aim for ecotourism. The site is a distinct for natural resources, so there would be a greater level of the effectiveness and efficiency of such ecotourism activities, offerings, and experiences in the site. Also, it is based on the natural areas, thereby considered to be a potential strategy to support conservation of the natural habitats. It aligned to the characteristics, principles, and guidelines of ecotourism towards sustaining as well as conserving the environment that improves the well-being of the local people. So that brings me to the end of my video presentation. Thank you for listening. Keep safe and God bless.